What's up, everybody out there in the Frontline universe, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger comic book review. I'm Chris, he's Mike.
Hey guys.
And we are here today to give you the books that were released on
October 19, 2016.
Which was last Wednesday. We know that we are working really hard to get these reviews back. A couple more days. We're recording this on Thursday. Our goal is to get the recording back to at least Tuesday being uploaded, or a live show sometime on Monday. We're working on it. We're trying our best. We're reading so many books now, though. It's so hard to... It really... You guys, even with the shorter piles, there's a lot that we read still. You know, I thought that this was a light week. We actually had a fair amount of books. It's just, you know, as soon as we get them all done, you know, as soon as we read them all, you know, we get this out as soon as we can. That's just the way it is. But we're going to work on trying to get books read a little bit earlier, so this way we can get this review out a little bit earlier. But anyway, we're starting with my books. So, Aliens, Life and Death issue.
Why do you take off the cover?
Number 2, because I don't need the cover. We don't need no covers. No covers. I like this. Chris was captured, as we all know, in the last issue. And now Jill wants to go back to get her wife. And she actually makes a deal with the attorney from Weyland-Yutani, basically signing the rights to her wife away. If she passes, they could keep her body, but basically she wants them to try their hardest to save her because she's probably got, you know, implanted with the alien. And she wants to save her. So they end up, well, before that, the soldiers decide they're going to go down to try to rescue everybody anyway. And Galgo and Abraham survive, thanks to Abraham. And they see the dropship coming, so they're heading for the dropship. The soldiers are back on planet to save Chris and whoever else survived. And the other ship is still gone, though. The other ship left with the engineers, which I'm sure we'll see that with... Let's see, we got Aliens, we got Prometheus. I think Alien versus Predator is next, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to see that soon. I'm sure that ship will come back. I'm really excited to see where this goes. One thing I got to point out, though, this time is the artwork looked very sketchy. Sketchy is the word I could use. Lacking of detail is another word I would use. And I don't know, it just felt a little bit off for me. I just felt a little off with it. Maybe it's just this issue, but I felt like there was a huge lack of detail with a lot of pages. I felt like there could have been more.
Okay.
Just my opinion. Archie, issue 13, we get introduced to a girl. Now, we all know Veronica moved. And Archie and Veronica are dealing with that separation. And Archie's not taking it well. Veronica's not taking it well. He tries to reach out to her. He can't. She tries to reach out to him. There's no frequency. And then she's in this new school with this woman. I forgot her name, but she basically is the queen of where they are, and she doesn't want no rich girl coming in and taking over her spot. So she's looking to do everything she can to screw with Veronica, and Veronica tries to make friends with this one girl. She does, and then this girl, I forgot her name, the one that was the one that's actually on the cover. But she ends up screwing Veronica with a friend, and basically she's making Ronnie's life a living hell in order to keep her in her place and to make sure that the queen stays. And then she finds out...
Making that book so dramatic.
Oh, yeah. And then she finds out about Archie.
Uh-oh.
And that's where it's left off. And I'm like, uh-oh. What's next? So, Demonic issue number 3. We still got Novo controlling Scott, making him basically do whatever she wants. And Scott is still out there taking out the bad guys, not the good guys, and trying to pay the dues he has for Novo, so this way she'll leave him alone and he can live his life. We get to see him with his daughter and his wife for a little bit, and then he goes back to work. And you've got the police that are still chasing after him, by the way, and I think that... See, there was a part in the book that kind of confused me. I don't know if they were in his apartment or they were in another police officer's apartment. And he called the detective, and the detective said it's him. And when he picked up the phone, he said, "I know who you really are," and hung up.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting. And then they figured out who the next target was going to be. And at that moment, you've got Scott showing up at this person's place to wreak revenge, or to the Novo revenge. And the police are also showing up there at the same time. Interesting book. I'm really enjoying Demonic. Demonic's a lot of fun to
I'm gonna
read. I
sign
would
out.
definitely, I would definitely recommend it. And you guys are going to. Did it freeze at all, or are we good so
No,
far?
we're good.
Okay, we're good so far. Go good.
Sorry.
Ding. Honorable mention goes out because if you are a Garfield fan, you're gonna want Big Fat Hairy Adventure. Came out from Boom Studios. Definitely pick that up if you're a Garfield fan. I am a huge Garfield fan. Unfortunately, I have not even begun to read that book, but I wanted to throw it out there because it did come out this week. Love Garfield. It is my guilty pleasure along with a few other books. Which
I did check that out though. The third artwork I thought was a little like, I don't know, like I didn't know what I was reading in the third story. It was like,
the third, I looked at the artwork. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's the story I'm going to skip. Between Garfield and Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck right now I'm getting in trade. As you guys know, I'll be getting the trade in December. I think Volume 1 comes out. Is that when the preview? Yeah, December.
yeah,
Was
December.
for Darkwing Duck. So I'll be getting Volume 1 there. I might start getting the single issues. I'm not sure yet. I got to see if I can catch the single issues. I always miss them.
Yeah, but isn't it good to get trade paperbacks so you have all the issues in one?
That's true also. I don't know. We'll have to wait.
I'm just
well,
saying as a
probably
suggestion.
starting January is when we're making cuts and adding other things. So
And
we'll
that's
see.
another thing.
Right. Godzilla Rage Through Time issue number 3 has no Godzilla in it. So if you're looking for Godzilla, he's not here. This book is all about the person on the cover, Mothra. We are in nighttime, the night era, and they are being attacked by the Black Plague, which they believe is caused by, I cannot remember. I know Alan would know who the other kaiju is, but it's being caused by this kaiju right here. And they actually go to a shrine for Mothra, and the night kind of prays to Mothra or asks for help, and that's when Mothra appears, and he actually fights the other kaiju and ends up saving the kingdom. But at first the kingdom doesn't know Mothra's on their side, then they figure it out, and really it has nothing to do with Godzilla, which kind of made me question it. And even when the explorers were there, they said that this had nothing to do with Godzilla, it's just kaiju. So this issue was kind of like one of those, hey look, it's Mothra. No
Yeah.
Godzilla though. So it was interesting. And then honorable mention goes out to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink, issue number 4 of 6. I'm really enjoying the story. It's a lot of fun. And we get to see Kimberly. This is around the time where I guess where Zordon leaves Earth. Before he leaves, though, he gives Kimberly a little bit of extra power so that she can create a full team of Power Rangers. We get a new Red Ranger who's not actually a guy. It's a girl who's the Red Ranger this time.
All right.
And the Black and yellow were there, pink.
The blue?
Blue, thank you.
Yeah.
The blue,
I just
a
took
new
a
blue
guess.
and
Yeah.
a new Red Ranger, and the Red Ranger's a girl. Really cool stuff. I'm enjoying the story. It's definitely something new. It's something that adds to Kimberly's story after she
And
left
also,
the
it's
Power
not
Rangers.
repeating like the same thing we saw as growing up. It's something different in the mix.
Samurai issue number 2. I'm really digging this book now. I'm really liking it. It's got a lot of stories put together here, but the samurai meets up with the girl from the last issue, and the girl's mistress was watching on, and she got really upset to the point where she actually sold her the girl to a group of war veterans. And what happens is the samurai finds out and wants to go save her, but he gets called away on another mission where there's this female samurai, and I think that's the mistress, by the way. I don't know, I'm not sure. But the story's really good, and I would definitely say to check it out now. I love the artwork. There's a lot of other things going on within the story. I don't want to spoil too much, but definitely check it out. And honorable mention goes out to Usagi Yojimbo, issue number 158.
Isn't it Yojimbo?
Yojimbo.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you said yeah.
I'm so used to saying
Yeah.
But Yojimbo, yeah, I enjoy it each and every time it comes out. That's another one of my guilty pleasures. If you're a fan, if you've seen it in Turtles, I would definitely recommend picking it up. However, I have not gotten through halfway of the book yet, so I can't tell you guys what's happening in the book, but I am reading it casually, and I wanted to throw that out there because it's a really fun read.
All right. So let's start off with Atomic Robo Volume 2, issue number 3. So in Atomic Robo, we're trying to find out about Dr. Lou's 0-point project that he's doing, and the other people want to get their hands on that. So it's up to Atomic Robo and the girl's name I can't remember. It's up to them to save the doctor's plan so it doesn't go into the wrong hands. Chen also returns in this book from what we saw in Volume 1, so it was great to see him again. So what it is that they just keep getting a strategy. It's just them against the army, who is after that zero. I forgot what it's called, 0 1 point or 0 point something. It was 0 something of the project that belonged to Dr. Liu's thing. So at the end of the book, or this issue, we see that Atomic Robo was down for the count, and then their car is going over the hill, and Atomic Robo is down and out.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, there's lots of stuff that's going to happen. I want to see how they're going to get out of that mess, because that's really something. This book I've been waiting for, finally. Faith, issue number 4. Faith versus Faith. In the Clone War thing. Since...
Clones. Oh, God.
Well, if you read the last issue, this was taking place at a comic convention.
Oh, okay.
So, what they're doing is that, as a team, they're trying to find ways to find out the murder of, what we found out in the last issue. I forgot what it was. It was like some bear or something in a costume. So there's many people in disguise, so it's up to them to take them out. And one of the Fates, which was the fake Fate, made a sacrifice in order to keep the real Fate alive. With one of the missions that they did. That's really all the gist of the book. And they still give you those tips about what to do at a comic convention and stuff like that. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. Ninjak issue number 20. Continue on with the Fist and Steel, or shall I say Ninjak and the Eternal Warrior, that is trying to find different ways to get about that mad scientist that was going to attack them. So they're trying to get through like different portals to find what they're looking for. We do get Punk Mambo, who actually comes in this issue, and she like tries to help him out. Like, it was a little bit all over the place. I kind of felt like the artwork was a little bit different than the last issue, sort of. But after what they found out of who they're going to be fighting with after knocking out the Eternal Warrior, now it's Ninjak versus the Fire guy, and it's to be concluded, as well as the next issue, the next story, which was all Punk Mambo and Ninjak, which was kind of boring, that one. Grimm Fairy Tales 2016 Photo Shoot Edition. This one I could just...
was done right. That had a story before you got all the pinups.
Right, like it was basically just Robin Hood that was going to a photo op with Green Medusa. And Green Medusa was like saying, I could make you into a great model and this and that. And we all know Robin Hood's not going to take that all nice thing. So she attacks her because there's these... because you know how that Green Medusa turns people into stone. And in order to get them unstoned, they have to be defeated. And that's what Robin Hood does. And then everything goes back to normal. Very short story, and I like the pinups as well. That was like really interesting. Let's see. Van Helsing versus Frankstein, part 3 of 5. Van Helsing versus Frankstein. The fight just gets brutal and brutal. Frankstein is just getting more of the upper hand on Helsing, as well as his girlfriend, I think. Why did I forget her name? I had it in my head all day and I can't remember. But anyway, she was actually trying to get in his mind, like saying, don't you remember me and this and that. And Helsing's like saying, he's gone. You shouldn't have brought him back. And she just takes a whole, 180, just takes her motorcycle and just goes after him after he's wreaking havoc all over the place. So, I'm telling you, it's getting really intense. As well as what's going to happen in the next issue as well. Insufferable, Home Field Advantage, issue number 1. I believe this is volume 3.
Yes, it is.
Yes. This is the next volume to Insufferable. So we saw that Meg was kidnapped by these group of people. So it's up to Galahad and Nocturnus, if I said that right, to try to find her. Now, everybody's still having this thing of going against Galahad because he was wanted. So in order for him to not get caught again after all this commotion happened, that's how she got kidnapped. So it's up to them to set up a plan to try to get them. We also have this guy named Bob, who's an engineer that tries to help him out. Long beard guy. Kind of reminded me of Santa Claus, kind of. But anyway, so long story short, they have to get to this, what's that thing? The force field type of thing. And it's not to turn it on. It's to actually get it to a more level, so that way they could be protected, more along lines of also helping them try to find Meg faster, of the who's, what's, when, where, and whys with all that. All right, and Tomb Raider issue number 9. Long story short, for this one, Sam is still having that demonic power where she can actually summon followers to actually do the dirty work for her, and this is in Germany, by the way. While Lara Croft goes to Professor Morrow, who knows about possessions and stuff like that. So the whole gist of the book was that she's trying to find out more the possession and how to break Sam out of that curse. And there's this whole big shootout that happens, and we don't know if Professor Morrow survived, that she jumped in to save her, or I don't know. It was just left out as that big cliffhanger. Lots of information, though. Definitely check it out.
All right, we're in the big 2 now. We have no physical indie books this week. I had Lady Death, like I told you guys, though. I want to start from the beginning when it started instead of going into, I believe this is story 3 or 4. But anyway, my only book digitally from DC Comics, and that's because I get the collector's volume, is Batman Dark Knight, or Dark Knight 3, The Master Race. This is issue number 6, I believe. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Yeah, it's issue 6. I will have the collector's edition hardcover in 2 weeks. You won't see it in this week's haul. You'll probably see it in next week's haul unless Midtown delivers late. Because DCBS, there was a problem with it through previews or whatever. But anyway, I enjoyed this issue. So, because of the Kryptonite Rain, Batman and Superman and Batgirl are able, which is Carrie Kelly, by the way, now. Carrie Kelly is Batgirl. They are able to stop the Kryptonians, and basically Gotham fights back. And they finally win. And what happens with Supergirl, but with Superman's daughter and her boyfriend, I believe his name is, they weren't in Gotham, so they weren't rained on, so they still have all their abilities.
Oh.
However, when the guy attacks Carrie, she has a kryptonite slingshot, and she slingshots it in the guy's face, and he ends up flying off. So
Jesus.
That was really cool. There was a lot of really great stuff in this book. I really enjoyed it a lot. There was no secondary story this time. It was sketches instead. I'm guessing because they actually they extended in a book, which kind of was weird because I'm kind of curious how it's going to line up with all the other books now. I'm not sure if they'll add, like Mike Spider-Slayer said, a white panel, or if they'll find a way to stretch the picture out more. I don't know. And obviously the cover or the thing that they go in will probably come with issue 8 instead of 7. But beside the point, it was really good. And what happens in the end, the cliffhanger was amazing. Batman, it reminds me so much of Dark Knight 1. He gets shot with heat vision through the heart, and his heart stops beating. He makes Superman promise him no hospitals, and he tells Superman to say something to Carrie, and he doesn't say what yet. And it's going to be interesting to see if Bruce actually legitimately does die, or if somehow he's brought back to life. Hopefully he's brought back to life. I mean, this is Dark Knight. You don't want to see it end the last 2 issues with Superman and Carrie Kelly. Well, then again, Carrie Kelly technically is his successor now.
Right.
So we'll see, but I guess this isn't the penultimate issue anymore, because it's not going to 7 issues anymore. It's going to 8. So we'll have to wait and see where issue 8 takes us. And I'm really looking forward to where the next issue is going to be taking us, because that will be the penultimate issue. Awesome book. Really am enjoying it.
Silk issue number 13. Silk reunites with her mother, also known as the Red Knight. And in this book, they're just trying to fight off against the army that is against the Red Knight, and Silk tries to help her out. She also gets reunited with her father as well. Also, Silk's friends are with her also, the 2 people. So they try to help them out, and then they get reunited. They go to the portal to their own world, where the family, got together.
We froze for a second, but I think we're all right now.
Oh, I did sign out of Skype.
I don't know. I think we froze for a second. No, you were talking.
Oh.
Just show the cover again to be
Well,
safe.
yeah. Well, this is the cover of Silk. I did show that.
Did you see it on camera?
Yeah.
Okay, then never mind. It just froze
Well,
for a second.
anyway, beside the point.
Don't mind my eyes if I'm looking over now.
The portal where they went through is back to their world, where all the family got together. And so now, with her being reunited with her family, along with S.H.I.E.L.D., that was actually providing them a house to live in, or real estate, they're trying to say, so what's going to happen now? So what we saw about the father is going to be doing something that might affect Silk. And this one is also to be concluded. I think to be continued or concluded? I think it was to be continued in next issue. I'm thinking of the other book. but really great issue. And finally, digitally, Spider-Woman issue number 12. The whole thing about Spider-Woman is that she's been fighting crime, so she thought, why not take her baby and go with Roger and his kid to the beach? Where Roger, as Porcupine, is seeing about Sandman. He's just destroying the whole place. They get into a little bit of a fight, which gets very heated up. No pun intended. That it was like a summer day and yada yada. So they're trying to find ways of how, or he's actually trying to find a way how to defeat Sandman. And one way to defeat him are two ways. The water I knew that from Spider-Man, but also some about electricity that freezes them also.
Lightning. If lightning hits sand, it turns it into glass.
Right, so basically turn them into glass or kind of like ice. And then that's really the whole gist of the book for that issue. But, I'm liking how they're doing more of the get-togethers that I've been reading in comic books.
Only other Marvel book, like I showed you guys in my haul this week, is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 20. And it definitely does connect with the Clone Conspiracy miniseries that's going on. In this book, we get Doc Ock's point of view and how Doc Ock basically found his way to New You, I believe it is. Yeah, New You. And it opens up right where the Clone Conspiracy issue 1 left off with Doc Ock fighting Spider-Man, and then it goes back in time where Doc Ock, as the Machine, escapes and finds a way to New You and sneaks its way into the cloned body of Doc Ock, and basically it downloads all of its Doc Ock basically downloads all his memories into the clone, and we basically get a opposite version of Doc Ock versus Spider-Man. Whereas in Superior Spider-Man, obviously Doc Ock erased himself and he lost. In this one, Doc Ock fights Spider-Man and basically says he's going to be in control of his own body and he's going to be his own person again. And he ends up back as himself. And we called this, and I remember talking about this when Superior Spider-Man started. I said at some point Pete was going to get his body back, and probably due through cloning, there would be a way to bring him back. And well, that's exactly what happened. Thanks to New You, we have clone Doc Ock. Now, will Doc Ock stay after the Clone Conspiracy? 99.9% I say yes. We just got to figure out how.
Wow.
But I called it. I said, did I not tell you that Doc Ock was going to come back through means of cloning? And that's exactly what we got right here in Clone Conspiracy. Yes, it kind of was telltale way back since Superior, but at the same time, it was a good read. But that's all you got in this book was Doc Ock's side of the story and how Doc Ock basically got his newly cloned body. Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye issue number 1. We get to see a lot of really... Yeah, I know. I realize there's no sun out this time, so it's easier. We get to see a lot of guest appearances in here. We get to see the Metal Men. We get to see the Doctor of the Metal Men. It turns out Cave Carson, something's going on with his cybernetic eye, which is supposed to keep information within it. Apparently, it's screwing up after certain events that he was in. He was going to this person's funeral, and he keeps seeing these visions of people telling him he should be buried with them because apparently he should have died. And it's a really interesting book. We get to see these aliens also that he's seeing. I don't know. His cybernetic eye is kind of throwing him all over the place. And in the end, it turns out somebody is going to come to the aid of Cave Carson, because I believe he was... I want to make triple sure. I read this book first because he was actually attacked by the alien. Well, he thought it was a dream at first, but turns out in the end it was actually reality. And like I said, now he's going to have a friend coming to his aid. Interesting book. As I showed you guys some artwork, I'll show you a little bit more again. This is Metal Men. So this does take place in the DC universe. I'm going to stick around and see where Cave Carson goes. This book might actually be another one that I keep from Young Animals. Really depends where the first story arc goes. And I believe by January, the first story arc for Cave Carson should be almost, or if not completely done. So we'll know from there whether Cave Carson is going to be staying with us physically, going digital, or being dropped. That's not my book. Harley Quinn.
Oh, I thought it was your book. My bad. Harley Quinn, The Skullbags, issue number 6. Yeah, right. I forgot. Suicide Squad.
He thought it was Suicide Squad. You see that?
It's late. Yeah, so in this one, we get more of her adventures of, being like this rock star, and things are like just going all over the place. Like, it's getting like very like crazy, where she's being undercover of being like a rock star, like I said.
Like you just said again.
Yeah, but long story short, the artwork is, first of all, a little bit sketchy when they talk about the Joker's past.
Her and Joker's past, yeah.
Yeah, where she was a therapy...
You can show that. That's different artwork from...
Where she was a therapy of Joker.
Therapist, yeah.
Yeah, therapist, yeah. And we get a little bit more about the Joker in very disturbing ways, along with asking for a favor to try to help him out with different things. And then we get this new arm guy. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
New arm guy? Which
the guy
That's
with
the
new
Red
arm.
Tool.
Yeah, Red Tool. I can't remember his name. Red Tool is like with the new arm that he has and putting it into good use. And then at the end of this book, there's just like a whole big superhero and supervillain fetish club. That's actually fetish club.
Fetish?
Fetish.
What the hell's a fetish?
Fetish, I'm gonna hit you over the head. But it was an okay issue, a little bit all over the place, but I kind of like this issue, so definitely pick this up if you've been reading all along like I have. Green Arrow issue number 9. And don't you dare say a word.
Sex on the beach.
Ugh, I knew you were going to say that.
Is it on the beach this time?
It's going to be on your head if you don't be quiet.
Was it on the beach?
So.
Oh, look, it's already happening.
So, it's Green Arrow and Black Canary who are trying to find John Diggle. They meet up with this person named Ada, which I did review this on Comic Frontline, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a short to it. And we find out that John Diggle is in a Ninth Circle-esque place with Anna. And she knew Eta from being the husband.
Sex on the beach?
They have like 3 letters. That was kind of a little...
3 letters, yeah.
Something. The artwork in this book is really amazing.
It's orange.
Well, that's because the sun is in the picture.
Oh, see, sex on the beach.
Yeah.
Or in the mountains.
And they're going places with Ada where he's trying to help them to get off the island, as well as trying to find where John Diggle is.
What is it with Green Arrow and islands?
He's just going to the... They're on the island. Remember the Island of Scars? This is the Island of Scars. This is part 2. Oh, but don't worry. They won't be there long because I'll just skip to the end of the book. They're going back to Seattle.
Washington?
You're really gonna...
Seattle, Washington.
D.C.
No. Seattle is in Washington State.
I know. It is in Washington State, but I just said D.C. because D.C. book, haha. But yeah, really great book. Definite recommendation to pick this up. And you get into your fishy thing.
Fishy thing is right. Aquaman versus the Shaggy Man in Aquaman issue number 9. He's fighting against his own team, telling them that they need to get real, that he has to stop Shaggy Man, that, it's going to be the person, I forgot what his name was, I think, where was it? K, who is in Atlantic Command, and he stutters, and you can tell because of the way they write him. But anyway, he tells Aquaman that if, the people in America see that Shaggy Man's attacking from the ocean, they're going to think that it's Atlantis attacking. You've got Mira going through her trial still to prove that she's worthy of marrying Aquaman. You got Aquaman fighting the Shaggy Man, and the people in his town do not like him. They're like, one person who's a fan of his helps him out, and the other guy who's the owner of the business gets pissed off because his entire building comes down because of Aquaman's fight with the Shaggy Man. He ends up stopping or sending the Shaggy Man away, which was really cool. I love how his commander's like, with all due respect, you have friends. You don't need to, you're being proud. And he's like, I could see that's exactly what you're doing. Stop being proud and call your friends the Justice League and let them help. And in the end, he kind of tells his commander to kiss to know his place and be quiet. And the commander's like, you're just a bloody idiot. And Aquaman then uses his Justice League. I thought he was calling the Justice League, but he actually uses his card on the Shaggy Man and ends up sending him into space along with his membership card. So I guess that symbolism for Aquaman is not thinking about himself in the jail anymore. And then basically he just knocks out after sending the Shaggy Man gets teleported away. And it's to be continued there with Aquaman laying in a pool of his own blood. That's gonna be very interesting for the next issue.
So instead of swimming with the fish, he's gonna be swimming in his own blood.
All right, so Justice League, State of Fear. This is issue number 7, and in this issue, the Justice League is getting screwed around left and right. You've got Simon Boz wanting to be away from everybody. You've got Aquaman and Wonder Woman, who are king. He's king of Atlantis. She's queen of Themyscira, saying that the world is a dangerous place and they're king and queen and they should force peace on everybody. You've got Cyborg, who wants to run and hide because he looks like, the way he does, and he thinks that people are judging him and scared of him. You've got Superman so pissed off at Batman that he wants to kill him. And you got Batman feeling so guilty about, all the people that have been under his wing that died, that he wants Superman to kill him. You've got Jessica still suffering from her wanting to be alone. You've got Flash, who's dealing with going too fast and worrying that, every breath is a lifetime for him. And then he kind of tries to reach into Jessica to try to help her. And then we find out that the blackness actually is what kind of consumed all of the Justice League. And it was playing off of their own fears. You had Aquaman and Wonder Woman fighting the armies. Batman and Superman was the most mellow, because after Superman punched a wall, they basically just sat there, and Superman said how much he really wants to kill Bruce, because no matter what he does, Bruce will never trust him. And Bruce is like, he's just talking about his own fears, like that he's afraid, and that he's afraid one day he's going to end up killing the Joker. And then I forgot what he said. He's like, to Superman, we're not the same. And he said, we don't have to be. And I feel like that definitely is going to strengthen their bond a little bit. And then you have Jessica, who finally defeats the darkness and kind of helps the Justice League kind of figure out or break the spell or the control, so to speak. But in the end of the issue, Jessica ends up quitting the Justice League. So I guess Simon Boz is going to be the only Green Lantern in the Justice League, if he even stays. I wonder if maybe her leaving is going to cause Simon to kind of get pushed out by the Justice League, which is fine, because I'm sure when the whole deal with Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns is over, Hal Jordan will be back with the Justice League.
Wow.
I don't know, but it's kind of sad. It's only 7 issues in and already Jessica quit. She's not a people person, as she said. I didn't like that. I felt it was a little out of character for Jessica. And I'm sure that Pete, I know you're very happy that Flash and her kind of have that little romantic thing going on in Justice League, which is interesting, and hopefully she'll come back and they'll expand on it a little bit. Green Lanterns issue 9. This issue does not push the story forward at all. We get introduced to the person who's chasing after the Phantom Ring, and his name is Frank Leminski, and he also was a pilot who actually came into contact with Green Lantern, and his life has been shit. He failed as a pilot. He was second string or practice as a football player. He was second place in the science fair. Nobody wanted to be bothered with him. He enlisted in the Air Force and kind of got pushed on the side. And then he basically, ever since meeting Green Lantern, was obsessed with getting his own Green Lantern ring. And then he found out about Guy Gardner getting a ring, Jon Stewart getting a ring, Kyle Rayner. So obviously this book is kind of adding a little bit of the old DC Universe history back. But I think with Green Lantern, that never was changed anyway. But he tried to be a hero and failed. And then finally one day a Green Lantern ring showed up at his doorstep. And he was like, ooh, finally, after so long. And then something happened to the ring. And it found a correct candidate and left. I'm guessing that's the one that went to Jessica or Simon. And he kind of loses it. And everything kind of falls downhill for him. But then he comes face to face with Volthoom, the first Green Lantern, who apparently is still alive.
Is that the one with the everything ring?
Mm-mm. He was the first Green Lantern and the failed version of the Green Lanterns. and both of them tells Leminski about the Phantom Ring, and that's the person we saw at the end of the last issue who said, I'm going to get that Phantom Ring and I'm going to become a Lantern. So now we have the backstory on the person chasing after the Phantom Ring, and he's probably going to become the Phantom Ring Bearer, I'm guessing. But it's going to be interesting to see if he is a force of good, a force of evil, or a force of unknown.
Cyborg issue number 3. The whole aftermath of fighting Kilgore, along with checking up about what happened to his father. And this one, he was like sent through like a you know how like it's a dream but it's kind of like not happening but it feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor said like he had this dream about the Justice League being attacked by Darkseid because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. So with his memory thing that should be like turned off and everything, the doctor doesn't understand how he's getting that. And I think Kilgore has something with this. And what's even more interesting is that we actually see Cyborg without the metal parts all over his body.
Well, in the previous volume, he was able to hide them, remember?
Yeah. Well, I never read Cyborg, so I wouldn't know that. So he's just going... But he still has the steel inside him and all that. So, the only thing that's wrong with him is that he doesn't remember that many people because some of the things were erased from his memory. So, he goes to... the other Dr. Morrow, like Tomb Raider, look at that. Dr. Morrow, where he wants the memories that were back, and he's like saying it's a risk, it shouldn't be like that. And then he has an encounter with Superman that tries to stop him. But I think that it's still a dream that he's going through because now...
Yeah, that's the New 52 Superman.
Right, because now he's saying that the entire Justice League is suddenly the enemy probably because of Superman, him not knowing that Superman will kill him. The others don't have a problem with that. So I tell you, Cyborg, out of all the characters I've read, Cyborg's been going through too much. Like there's just so many things that he's going through. It's like you feel bad for his character.
And these were actually put out of order. It should have been Nightwing first, but it's fine. Batman issue number 9. They're not in any specific order anyway. I don't do tops on my reviews. So Batman issue number 9. Thank you, God. Broke away from the Monster Men, back to its own story, and I am Suicide. So to save, what's her name? We get introduced to Bane a little bit. We get a bit of a backstory with Bane, like what made him into the person he was today and why he wanted Psycho Pirate. He wanted basically Psycho Pirate to tell him that he's happy, he's brave, and he can always stop. Then we go back to Batman, who is with, I forgot what her name was already. Oh, God. Well, Amanda Waller gave him a proposition to help him save, whatever her name is. Kate, was it? I can't remember. Gotham Girl. Basically to save Gotham Girl. And what he has to do is he has to go to Arkham and put together his own Suicide Squad. So he goes to Puppet Master first. Then he goes to a few other people that are candidates. And then we find out about Doe. And I want you to understand, Doe is Jane Doe. And there's a huge hint, and I hope you guys caught it. But they're in Arkham Asylum, and him and Commissioner Gordon look over. She makes the mist on the window, and then she makes this. That's Saturn Girl, for those of you that don't know. So I have a feeling at some point the Legion of Superheroes is going to play into a story arc in Batman. So that's really cool that's where the Legions are. And then he also ends up bringing in Bronze Tiger to the team. He goes to another girl, I forgot what her name is, Julie. And it turns out Commissioner Gordon really isn't Julie. It's Julie's boyfriend who is a master of disguise. And basically he brings both of them on to Suicide Squad. And I love how Arkham doesn't like it. Dr. Arkham kind of he only wanted to give 2 away. So far he was giving several away. And Batman asked for 1 more and he's like, no way, I gave you enough. And he's like, do you want me to go back and tell the people of Arkham that somebody pretending to be Jim Gordon snuck into here. I want one more person. And he tells him who, and that person's sentenced to death. And who is it? None other than Selina Kyle. So apparently Selina got caught and put in Arkham at some point, and she's going to become part of Batman's Suicide Squad, and probably she'll end up escaping, and that's what's going to lead into, I'm sure, the Catwoman ongoing series, which I know there's a Catwoman one-shot coming out. We will not be getting the Catwoman for President one-shot. That was not part of our DCBS order, to my knowledge. So we will probably be reviewing that book digitally, because I did look it up on Midtown. It was a $5 book, and I don't think for Catwoman I want to spend $5. So we'll review that digitally first and see where we go from there. Now we're going into Nightwing issue number 7, returning to Raptor. So he is chasing after the Court of Owl members that are left, while Cobra is basically slingshotting everything that oh god, what was he an agent of first? Everything that's being deciphered by shoot, what were they called? Where he was an agent when he was a secret agent, whatever his old secret agent agency finds, Cobra gets as well. Cobra goes in and kills them, and Nightwing figures out that somebody has been breaking into their base, and every time they decipher a new name, somebody else is getting it and sending it to Cobra. So he goes to Raptor, and he's pissed. They get into a humongous fight. Raptor thought that Dick was ready to find out who Raptor was and move on, but he says, apparently I was wrong. He ends up drugging Nightwing. Raptor goes after Bruce. He says, you know what? I'm going to have to take everything away from you in order to finally make you see. So he ends up kidnapping Bruce, and the biggest and best cliffhanger to date with Nightwing gets left on a table when he comes to. Apparently Raptor was friends with Nightwing's mom because he worked in Haley's circus as well. I'm really looking forward to where this story arc is going now. And obviously, after this, Nightwing's going to Bullhaven, so he's going to be leaving Gotham, which I'm looking forward to when we get to that. Nightwing is definitely picking up. Artwork, not really. Story, absolutely. Raven, issue number 2. I like the cartoony artwork in here, I'm not going to lie, and and the story's pretty good as well. Raven's having a hard time. Her soul is separating from her, and if they stay separated too long, it causes severe ramifications. She ends up catching her soul back. Something tried to take it, or has tried to separate the two of them. It didn't work. We get introduced to this new girl called Ant. We get a nice little kind of Breakfast Club feel of friends that Raven is now hanging out with. And one of the kids went missing, and all of a sudden now you've got these kids that are being drawn into this light, and Raven tries to break into the light and can't, and more people are getting possessed and being drawn into the light against their will, and Raven is fighting really hard to try to get in. It doesn't work. She basically is taken to within an ounce of her own life, I'd say, because she's really messed up by the end of the issue. And then the last page, just like in Cave Carson, somebody, it looks like, will be, 2 people are going to be coming to, I forgot where Raven lives exactly, but they're going to be showing up to give Raven a hand in the next issue. This is an interesting miniseries so far. I'm really enjoying it. Unfortunately, though, we all know where this miniseries is going to go because it leads to Teen Titans, which I know Michael's reading, so I'm kind of glad I'm not ahead by reading Teen Titans, but we all know where it's leading to, her joining the Teen Titans. Superman issue number 9. Now, in the last issue, Superman and John were stuck in this alternate time because of John's project. And they get to meet, I forgot what his name was.
It's not Slade?
No, it is not Slade. Captain Storm.
Oh.
Apparently Captain Storm has survived being in this alternate world, and Superman and John are trying to figure out how they can get home. And it was really interesting. Captain Storm, first of all, explains how he ended up there, how he lost all of his friends, and how he's the last one, the last survivor of the losers. And they decide to go off to find John's project so that they can all go back home. And I love the humanness of this because, you know, Superman, there's a part where John starts crying. And I love how Clark's like, you act so adult that I forget sometimes that you're still only 11 years old or 10 years old. And John's like, what if we get stuck? And I love this panel because you see Superman and he's so confident and he just smiles and he says, do you trust me? And he's like, yeah, I trust you, Dad. Then, oh, do you believe me? And he says, yeah, I believe you, Dad. So he said, believe me, we're going to get out of here. And they go to this one place where Captain Storm thinks it is. You get a monkey who actually has it. I'm pointing out the monkey because his eye is exactly what the squid's eye looked like from back in issue number 2. Yeah, from issue number 2. So something is following Superman and John around, and we don't know what. John ends up finding his project, and he wants to send all of them back. Superman tries to reach for, what's his name, Captain Storm. Unfortunately, Storm says he is home already, and he kind of breaks away from Superman and ends up staying there. But Superman and John end up back at the Fortress of Solitude, safe and sound. Artwork in this book is gorgeous, and apparently somebody is watching Superman. And it's somebody... Wait, come on. Somebody from space, so I'm guessing we're going to be seeing this person in future issues. Because Superman's like, where did the jewel go? Because he had the jewel from the ape's eye. He had taken it because he was going to examine it at the Fortress of Solitude and try to figure out, who's tailing Superman and his son. And it's left off there, and the next issue is what's being advertised literally. I mean, let me see if it's being advertised in this book, because I've seen it in almost every other DC book. That's Action. Wow, really? Probably because this is
it about
Superman.
the meetup?
Yeah, the meetup with Batman.
Yeah. Keep going. I saw it before. Keep going.
Yeah, here's Aquaman.
Keep going. No, it's like towards the end.
Mother May.
I saw it.
That's Action.
Next.
That's Green Lantern. That's the Wonder Woman book. That's the figures. That's the Batwing. There we go. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm really looking forward to the next issue with Superman and Batman having their sons kind of meet. That's going to be interesting. This is a nice little two-part story that really, it's, both issues in 1 month or one issue right after the other. They're every other week. So it was a nice little segue into the next story arc. Really liked it a lot. The book I wish that was twice a month but isn't, Trinity issue number 2. So apparently, at the beginning of the issue, we believed that Clark, Bruce, and Diana were sent back in time, and Clark's dad kind of has a heart attack when he sees them. Thankfully, he comes to, and he didn't have a heart attack. You have a little bit of the present day where John kind of is asking his mother about, he's not used to what went on with Batman and Superman and the others. And she told him, you just gotta, this is what it's like, and you'll get used to it. And then young Clark ends up running away because of what happened with Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. And I love how Superman wants to tell Jonathan that he's his, son in the future, but he doesn't. And I love how there's that part where, do you have a son? And he's like, yeah. And you get that father, I'm a father, so let me give you some advice from one father to another. And I thought that was really cool. I hope that when this event happens and DC is restored or things are fixed up a little bit further, that they bring the Kents back. Guys, at DC, the one thing I didn't like was, unfortunately, because of the movie and because of Smallville, with Jonathan Kent dying, the comics followed and killed Jonathan Kent. Again, I'm hoping that Jonathan Kent and Martha Kent both will be alive when they when they do this event with DC and they kind of hopefully fix things a little bit further. They bring the Kents back, because I really like that aspect of the Kents being alive. And then apparently the water gets poisoned with kryptonite. Superman faints but is saved by Jonathan Kent. And all looks great. And then we find out that it was all, spoiler alert, a dream. And apparently it's all because of poison ivy. And I forgot what the name of the plant was. But it involves the word mercy. I forgot what it was fully called. The mercy flower or something like that. So basically Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are stuck in a dream world thanks to poison ivy. And I'm interested to see how this is going to play out because it says next time Gotham. So I'm guessing now we're going into, maybe that was just Superman's dream. Now we're going to go into Batman, and then we'll go into Wonder Woman, and then hopefully there'll be a way for them to break free of the Mercy flower. Gee, I can't believe I forgot the name of it. Gorgeous artwork, really great story. I can't wait to see when they finally break free and they go after, they foil Poison Ivy, so to speak. And John actually finds him in the barn, and Poison Ivy I think she drops a Mercy flower on top of John, or knocks him out at least as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where this story goes. But till then, we'll have to wait till next month. And with that, that's the end of this review, guys. So as always, Comic Frontline, we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Hopefully you subscribe. This way we're in your sub box, and you don't miss out on a single video. We've got videos coming up each and every day. Also, don't forget to go over to Frontline Gaming Zone. Finally, gaming is going on that channel. I stream on there. I try to stream as much as possible. Right now, there was a massive upload for Destiny because I moved Destiny from my channel over to Frontline Gaming Zone. We're finishing off Destiny. There'll be a few other games coming soon. So if you haven't subscribed to Frontline Gaming Zone and you like watching walkthroughs, playthroughs, community plays, party plays, whatever, multiplayer, online, PvP, whatever, go check out Frontline Gaming Zone. If you like what you see on there, subscribe there too, because we're going to have a lot of really fun stuff coming in the future. Lots of great games are coming out, have come out, and will be coming out. And we hope to be on the front line. Comic Frontline is the front line for comics, news, reviews, and more. Frontline Gaming Zone is going to be the front line for gaming, gaming period for now. We'll talk about gaming news and reviews and more at a later date, after we figure out, how, after Frontline Gaming Zone kind of takes off a little bit and we see where that channel is headed. Also, if you have any comments, likes, dislikes, agree, disagree, recommendations, Pete, I know I replied to you 3 weeks ago. You haven't written since. So hopefully you'll write for this one. If you'd like to let us know what your tops were, what you enjoyed this week, let us know in the comments below, and we will reply to you guys in the comments below. Till next time, everybody, take care. Keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys really soon in the next video.
Everybody.
Hopefully we'll be on time.